I recently went to see my parents with my newborn. It was just the long weekend, so my husband stayed home with our 3 older children, pre-tween, kindergartner, toddler. When I was out of town, my husband called me to let me know his brother needed a place to crash. I said he should give him a ride to a shelter because letting his brother into our home was a bad idea. He's stolen from us before. When I got home, 5 very itchy people were in the house. I immediately returned to my car and went to my parents' house. My husband called me the whole time because he needed help dealing with the lice. I only called him back once the baby was settled back at my folks' place. I told him the pharmacy had the shampoo and comb for lice. He said he needed me to come home and take care of it. I noped. I said that he let his brother in our home against my wishes. His brother gave them all lice. He let the brother-in-law stay for 5 days total. I also reminded him that when our oldest got lice from kindergarten, he didn't help me at all. I hate lice. They freak me out. I dealt with it because I had to. This time it's on him. He said he would have to use his sick days to take care of this. I said tough crap. He did it. He took his brother to a shelter, deloused himself and the kids, and then spent 3 days cleaning all the bedding and the furniture. He called me every day begging for help. I didn't come home until his mother confirmed that everything was done. He's angry that I stuck him with all that by himself. I know I should have helped, but it was too much. I'm still not 100% free from the baby. It was just too much. Edit, mother-in-law only went there to verify everything was done. She didn't help my husband to clean, and she didn't let her homeless son in her house. LOL, he said he needed me to come home and take care of it. I noped. Rightfully noped. I'm dying. Bravo, OP. Bravo, bravo, bravo. You get the Shiny Spine Award of the day. You stuck him with being a responsible father to his children. Hoo-hoo. Also, he was going to go to work with lice? If their own mother wouldn't let your brother-in-law in her house, it was rather stupid of your husband to go against your wishes and let his brother in your house. I kind of like your mother-in-law for that. You're not the idiot. You didn't stick him with anything. He stuck it to himself by bringing someone who's violated your trust into the house against your, and probably his, better judgment. Hopefully he'll learn something from it. God, I'm itching right now. Hopefully this gives him the kick he needs not to think he has all the answers and can be the hero to everyone else. The husband irritated me with demanding that the woman come clean up his mess. Nope, you decided your opinion was the only thing that mattered. So guess what? You get to die. A woman with a newborn? Should she risk them both getting lice to rescue her husband from his stupid decision? I hope these demands are not common because he didn't even consider her limitations, only his self-victimization. The poor man had to deal with the consequences of his actions. What a load of BS. I'm just proud OP stuck to her guns. I wanted to add that my dad had a sketchy street friend stay with us briefly when we were kids, and he gave my siblings tuberculosis. It took 6 months of daily antibiotics to clear the infection. It isn't a nice thought, but you're right to protect your kids from close contact with people whose lifestyle puts them at increased risk of infectious disease. Thankful it was only lice. When he gets over his hurt feelings, the horror, your marriage will be stronger. You just save yourself years of aggravation. My wife, 37, had elective cosmetic surgery, and I, 42, am having a very adverse reaction to the results. We've been together for over 15 years. A few months ago, she mentioned she would get it done. We discussed it, and I was extremely against it. I thought the whole thing was a waste of money and dangerous, and I find the aesthetic unappealing. I shared these feelings, and she told me she was doing it anyway, found a doctor she liked, and arranged everything. A month or so ago, she told me she'd scheduled the surgery and needed a ride there and back and would be laid up for a few days, and the recovery was about 14 to 20 weeks. I again told her that it was a bad idea, that she looked great, that I found the results unattractive, and that she should think about what she was doing. She told me her mom would take her if I didn't. It's her body, but I was very adamant that I was against it. Fast forward about 6 weeks, the result of what she expected, and she's happy. The results are what I expected, and I'm mortified. I feel she's mutilated herself. I'm not overreacting. Her own family thinks the results are questionable. I've heard them, so this isn't just my opinion. I've always thought my wife was beautiful. I've told her this since day one and have maintained this feeling for as long as we've been together. We haven't slept in the same bed due to recovery since the surgery, and won't more than likely for a while. I have difficulty looking at her and get a deep sense of loss and sadness. The relationship is coming off the rails, with fighting, nasty comments, silent treatment, etc. My wife is mad at me for my reaction and says I'm ridiculous and unsupportive. I respond, I told you exactly how I'd feel and you did it anyway. What did you expect? She's blaming me for being angry and distant. She's laying everything at my feet because it's her body and I don't control her, all of which is true. But on the flip side, physical attraction is part of a relationship. And yeah, she's the same person, she just doesn't look like the same person. I told her how I felt then and how I feel about it now. She decided to ignore me. Am I the idiot? Edit, it wasn't just one thing, it was a collection of procedures done simultaneously, hence the long recovery time. This is not a breast augmentation or a little nose job sort of thing, and it wasn't a face surgery. She needs to be in a position to allow drainage and crap like that. 14 to 20 weeks is full recovery, has to sleep in specific positions, etc. She has other minor things done in the past, it was no big deal. She's right, it's her body and her choice. You're also not attracted to that and that's not your fault. You can't force that. You made it clear and it was a choice she made. She can't be mad at you for not liking something you said you wouldn't like. Not the idiot. In this case, she made significant changes to her body, and you are unfortunately unattracted to that. My cousin did this as well. She was the prettiest girl in the family. She now looks nothing like herself. It freaks me out when I see her, even if she's still the same person. I get uncanny valley. Legally, it's her body and her choice, but people like to take that to mean that they can do whatever they want with their body without judgment or consequences. She made a choice that she knew would damage her relationship with her husband. I don't see it as any different than if the husband chose to gain 100 pounds of fat, spent his weekends on a boat she doesn't like, or just sit around the house and do nothing. Well, those things can be corrected, while her decision cannot. I think this will be compounded as the wife will surely be looking for allies to see her point of view and further drive a wedge in her marriage. Agree. Part of being an adult in an adult relationship is understanding that you can't just run off and do anything you want without talking about it with your partner. Everything you do affects them now. A relationship must have a constant dialogue about things like this. I couldn't just go out and get a bunch of tattoos, do steroids, buy a bunch of stuff, totally change how I look, or so on without talking about it with my wife. It affects her. I care about how she feels. OP, you're angry because she didn't care how you felt. She's right. It's her body, but it's your life. Do you really want to spend it with someone who doesn't care how you feel? My wife, 37, and I, 38 male, have 3 kids, 2 tweens and a pre-tween. She's constantly overwhelmed and easily irritated, complaining about how it's all too much. I'm, of course, happy to help and do my fair share for the kids or household, but it's never enough because her standards are too damn high. She insists one of us has to be up at 6:45 every morning to ensure the kids are ready and make the bus, which comes at 7:45. I told her they're old enough not to need that much help already. They can all dress themselves and pour themselves cereal and milk, there's no reason we must be up. She says that cereal isn't a good enough breakfast, they need something more substantial, especially the older tween, and that the younger tween has ADHD and will definitely struggle without help in the morning. Anyway, she wants to see them off and kiss them goodbye for the day. So she gets up, I don't, and then she gets upset that I never give her a morning off, when all she needs to do is just take the morning off when she wants and let the kids handle themselves. Also, she's super strict about screen time during the week and is exhausted and snappy from arguing about it with the kids and upset I don't support her strict limit of 2 hours a day. I say as long as homework is done, why not until bed? She says it's unhealthy for them. They need to play outside or with games and toys, read some books and entertain themselves in more ways than one. I agree they should enjoy other things, but I wonder why we have to make such a rigid limit. She also likes to get out on weekends and do stuff like zoos, museums, etc., but then complains about the planning for the outing and how grouchy the youngest gets by the end of it. And again, I say let's just chill at home and voila, you've cut the work. I'm an engaged and active parent. I'm not trying to get out of it, but I don't think I should have to help my wife dig herself out of her own self-created holes. She creates the stress for herself and then turns to me to alleviate it, which I think is unfair. Am I the idiot for telling her she needs to do less and then she won't need this level of help? I'm an engaged and active parent. You don't sound like it. There are things a parent has to do for children in the morning. Your youngest is 8. Cereal is nothing but sugar. A lot of moms don't want their kids to eat that every day. 2 hours of screen time is generous, not strict. You sound rather checked out. You are the idiot. To be fair, a lot of kids around that age have to get ready on their own because their parents already left for work. I was one of them, which was pretty normal in my social circles. But if my parents had been home and decided to sleep in instead of getting up with me, I 100% would have felt neglected as crap. Where on earth would that be acceptable behaviour for a parent? Holy crap, OP is completely out of touch with reality. Seriously, OP sounds like one of those dads who call spending time with their kids babysitting, and any time doing housework, helping my wife. Oh wait, he literally says, "I'm happy to help," at the beginning of the story. No, parenting your children and doing what needs to be done around the house are not favours you do to your wife. It's your responsibility as a father and as a partner. OP doesn't realise it's him that's stressing her out, not the kids. He's probably busy gaming when he isn't sleeping or complaining about how his wife is bothering him. What are you doing right now in terms of helping the kids that makes you an active and engaged parent? While I read this, I could see the situation in my head. Your wife doing all the work, and then when the kids complain, letting her be the bad cop all the time while you sit on the couch and say, "It's fine, honey, just let them do it." And she probably wants to go in the next room and cry. So I, male 36, currently have no job. I'm a second-year law school student. Some relevant background. About 3 years ago, my wife, 33, got a really good job opportunity, so we moved to a different country. Before moving for my wife's job, I was a doctor. After moving, I decided to take a gap year, reevaluate my goals and enter law school. Additionally, I don't really have to work. I'm the sole beneficiary of my grandparents' trust. Plus, while working, I saved and invested more than half my earnings smartly until I married. So yesterday, all my courses were cancelled. Our pre-tween daughter was going to a sleepover after school to work on a project. And the nanny picks up the twins after kindergarten. I had a free day and wanted to relax, play some video games, catch up on movies, etc. Unbeknownst to me, my wife wanted to organise some sort of team building for her co-workers at our home since they finished a huge project. I was fine with it, but since I wasn't going to see them much, I looked pretty unkempt, and the house was mostly a mess since the cleaning lady came on Thursday. My wife doesn't talk much about her personal life, and since this is a newer team, they didn't understand much about our finances. So at some point, I overheard one woman say something along the lines of, "What's it like having a deadbeat husband?" Look, I'm not one to get mad at random insults, but I also don't like getting disrespected in my own home. So while going to grab something from the kitchen, I threw an offhanded comment directed towards my wife's co-workers. "What's it like making less in a year than I do in a month?" They were pretty red with embarrassment after my wife explained the situation. Not the idiot. Don't start crap and there won't be crap, especially going into someone's home and spouting off like that. You were probably nicer than I would have been with that response. The co-worker was already insulting the wife. Trust me, she wasn't asking a question like that because she cared about her feelings. She wanted to embarrass her. Everyone's the idiot here, even though I know it'll be unpopular. Co-worker sucks because, well, it's obvious. Your wife sucks for not sticking up for you, and you suck for bragging about having a trust fund income, because that's not something you earned, it's something you lucked into because of your grandfather. If the snapback hadn't been that specific, but had been something about being a former doctor, law student, or welcoming them into your home you and your wife bought together, etc., you wouldn't have sucked. But bragging about trust funds makes you an idiot, even if they were won first. Yeah, all these people acting like that was such a great clapback are baffling. I don't think it was funny. It was inappropriate and unprofessional to start something with the entire work group over one person's comments. The whole story just screams entitled trust fund baby. The nanny picks the kids up from kindergarten, even though he's doing nothing that day. He could have played games all day and still picked the kids up to spend time with them. The house is mostly a mess, even though they have a cleaner at least once a week, and he was the only one home all day. How unclean could it be? Was he planning to let his wife come home after work to the said mess? This guy just gives me bad vibes. I don't know how big his trust fund is. I could never be happy with a guy like this. 2 years ago, I suffered an accident at work and recently reached an agreement with the company. It was a huge amount. For example purposes only, I want to clarify that these are not the real values. I received $100,000 and I decided to divide it as follows: $30,000 for me, $30,000 for my wife, $25,000 for emergencies, and $15,000 for my parents. I'm the main breadwinner at home and my wife and I split the bills 25-75. Well, my wife wants me to divide the money that I will give to my parents in half and share it with my in-laws because it's money that would help them too. I refused, saying that this money was up to me to decide how to use it and that if she wanted to help her parents, she was free to use hers as she wanted. To be clear, her parents are financially stable and my parents have absurd expenses because my father has several health problems and basically this money would cover a year or two of his medicines. They're struggling financially, even with my monthly help. She said that this money should be a joint decision and that I was being selfish in deciding its destination without listening to her. Am I the idiot? Extra, she and I are financially stable and childless and this money is not needed to pay our expenses, so it'll be used for other things. Not the idiot, but as a former insurance adjuster, I would assume that if you're not committing insurance fraud by getting a large settlement, you actually have some kind of substantial injuries that might require some sort of follow-up care in the future, even if it doesn't seem like it now. In most cases, this is a final settlement. You're not getting more regardless of what might develop in the future. My vote? Don't give any of it away. Do the smart thing and put it in a savings or investment account. You are the idiot yourself. That is blood money, not fun money. It's money to make up for your lost earning potential and any potential hospital bills because of that accident. I hope for your sake that you've thought about your long-term financial position, including your new extra costs and loss of earning potential. It's crazy to me that people think that if you are legitimately hurt and get a large settlement, all of it is just profit basically. You don't get $100,000 from slipping at work and getting a sprained ankle. You get that from major long-term injuries that at least have a decent chance of being debilitating or getting worse and will need more treatment for later. Remind your wife of what has been lost. Not saving most of the settlement against future health issues is not the smartest move here.